have a good time, put a smile on your face, yeah. KB Cam and Elation Radio, even brighten your day and help you through the night. Bringing you good music, KB Cam and Elation Radio. And here's your host, KB Cam.
Happy Monday. We are here again on the Jadasa Live broadcast, streaming across social media and the Blog Talk Elations Radio. I am your host, Cynthia R. Bennett, and here on the Jadasa Live podcast, we talk about issues dealing with abuse and neglect that's going on in the community, in our state, and around the world. Our platform is used to raise awareness, provide resources, and offer hope through educating, edifying, and encouraging. But I want to thank you, our viewers and our listeners, for tuning in every Monday or whenever you can, because it is recorded, to this podcast. And we ask that if this podcast is helping you and assists you in any way, shape, form, or fashion, it helps your family, your friends, your associates, or your neighbors, we are asking, the Jadasa organization is asking you to donate into this much-needed cause to help survivors and their children who are in need. You can do this by going to our website at jadasa.org, hit the donate button. You can PayPal and hit Jadasa.org or search for Jadasa Organization, or you can Cash App us at $Jadasa STL. Your donations are fully tax deductible. Okay? So we want to get that out the way. But before we get started, remember, this is October. And in October, there are several awareness campaigns for this month. But the one that we are always talking about in the movement that I associate myself with is domestic violence. I do highlight other awareness. Of course, I participate in things because I know it is the breast cancer awareness month as well. But again, this month we are highlighting the awareness of purple and domestic violence. There is a lot of activity surrounding the movement, and Jadasa is involved in a lot of fundraising and awareness causes. And so with that being said, I want to just kind of draw your attention to some of the announcements we have. I'm going to share what's going on this week, and I decided not to put everything out there at one time to overload people, and they're like, wait a minute, okay, this is when, this is one, that one, because we were finding out some people were registering for things that they thought they was registering for something else. And even though we got that straightened out, we just want to put things that's going on this week, during this week, announcements this week. So I just want to kind of share some of the things that we have going on this week. And so this week we have our online game night. Now, everybody knows during October, it's always the second Saturday of October, or the second weekend of October, we always hold a 3K, 5K race against abuse to raise awareness, to raise funds, and that is to celebrate those who have survived, just to celebrate you. Yes, you got it. You've done it. You made it. You are stronger than you think, just to celebrate, to let them know, yes, we celebrate you for surviving such a horrific ordeal, because guess what? Also, not only are we celebrating, we're also memorializing the taken, because everybody that goes through this, we have some who comes to their abuse or at the hands of their abuser. So we memorialize the taken. So normally this month, we normally have that race at 3K, 5K. We are having our fingers crossed. We are believing God. It's going to be okay. Next October, we will be back on it with a 3K, 5K race this time next year. But however, to this year, October the 8th, this Friday, 2021, we decided to have an online game night in lieu of a race because of the COVID and the variant that's still out there in the community. And so we have you in mind to keep you safe. And so we're just asking you for $30 to go out and register on Eventbrite.com for this game. It is going to be a lot of prizes. We're going to have cahoots and trivia. We're going to have scavenger hunt. We're going to have different people on there. We're going to have a survivor video story. We're going to talk about some of the resources. We're going to talk about how you can contact, Jadasa, just things that's going on, and to have fun, guess what, in the comfort of your home. You do not have to leave from your desk or your laptop or your computer, wherever you are. All you need is 2 electronic devices, your laptop to Zoom in, to come in, and your phone. And that is the 2 things, and we will have an awesome time. The game night starts at 7 p.m. However, the Zoom room will open at 6:30 p.m. Once you pay your $30 ticket, that morning of Friday morning, we will shoot every participant, every registrant, the email with the link to it. Now, I just want you to know about this. Your $30 can help a woman and her 2 kids get a meal. That $30. Your $30 can help a survivor escape her abuser through a one-way train or a bus ticket. Your $30 can help a mother who has an infant child buy a bag of diapers and 1 can of formula. Your $30. Your $30 can help with emergency toiletries and underclothes and socks, things of that nature, where a lot of people when they give away clothes and stuff, that's one thing, we don't give away that, those type of things and stuff. So your $30 can help somebody's life. Something can change somebody's situation. Your $30. So we're asking you to go on to Eventbrite, please, and register. We are looking for you because we are looking to have a grand time and in the name of a cause to help someone else. Okay? So that is Friday, October the 8th. Now, we have another event that's coming up. Ladies, listen to me. This event is free. When I tell you, you guys, this is the wrong, it says register on Eventbrite. No, you register on Jadasa.org. Go to Jadasa.org and go to the bottom of the screen. You will see this very flyer, and it has a register button. I believe we only have about 8 or 9 seats left. This event is free to you. When I tell you, you all, the women that's coming, you all are going to be spoiled. Do you hear me? You're going to be spoiled, and you're going to be so glad you came. I mean, we have Hope Walker, who is a jazz saxophonist. She is in a professional jazz band. We have her. We also have Regina Balcom, who is a co-host of Balcom's Life Celebration Center. We also have Sarah White, who is the founder of New Beginnings Safe House. She is going to be on a panel. We have Allison Postgate, who is the founder of Empowering Vision. We also have another panelist, Donna Scott, who is the founder of Unmasking Suicide, and me, yourself, Cynthia Bennett, another co-host, who is the founder of Jadasa. And we have Vicki Calmise, who is the comedian of Health Hilarious, who is going to come with us. She is also a registered nurse, and so her comedy is going to be around women issues, women health. It's going to be laughter. We're going to have food. We have giveaways. We're going to talk about hot topics. We got live music, crowning. You all probably saying, what's crowning? Well, you got to come and see what that's about, because I'm telling you, this one is going to be one that's going to be talked about because we poured out all stops with the woman with you in mind, okay? So I want you all to make sure you go out and you register for this event. Now, this one is free to you, because we are trying to minister. We're trying to uplift and encourage and edify you. And, yes, we're going to talk about some hot topic issues, but we're going to only talk about what you put on the card. because we're going to have cards at the table, and you write down what you write down, and you don't have to put your name on it because we don't need your name because guess what? Whatever you're going through, probably somebody else in that room going through it too. So there's no need for you to put your name down. Just put the topic or the issue that we want to discuss, and we go have at it. Okay, so please go out there and register. Register today because the seats are limited. We're not going to go past a particular number that we have because we want to still be in the guidelines of the CDC. We want to do social distancing, and of course, masks are required. Masks are required. So I'm telling y'all, this is going to be. I am so excited because not only we get to do this and it's free, but we get to give back to you and to fill you up and to talk with you and help us unload and stuff. Because sometimes we got so much going on, It's time for us to do something for us sometime, sometime, right? So before, I get off and run all off into that, started with tonight. So tonight, I want to discuss the conviction of the R. Kelly case. And then I'm going to talk about some victim blaming too, because we know we're going to talk about issues on this podcast. It's not just abuse. We're going to talk about abuse. We're going to talk about stories. We're going to talk about issues. We're going to talk about laws, anything that's going to educate, edify, and lift you up. And the end goal is to eradicate abuse, to lessen the numbers. The numbers are up again as well like it was in 2020. The numbers are still high, so we still have work to do. So we're going to talk about this, and this is just something that I ran across, and I know it happened last week, but you all know that R. Kelly, who was a 3-time Grammy Award winner, R&B singer, was convicted on all 9 counts by the federal courts in Brooklyn. And so he was guilty on racketeering and multiple predicate acts, including illegal sex with minors, sexual exploitation of minors, bribery, coercion, and forced labor, 9 counts of that. So today's guilty verdict, forever, the story says, it's forever. Wow. It forever brands R. Kelly as a serial sexual predator. A serial. I don't even know if they gave, what is that man name? Epstein, whatever the man name that died in the jail, and they don't know who killed him, but, he was all up there with, Harvey Weinstein and all them, whatever his name, Epstein, I think I'm saying it right. I don't even know if they gave him, they may have, but I don't know if I ever heard that, but I don't really feel for him. I'm not just saying, in a way, because he's a human being, but what he did was unexcusable. I don't know what was going on in his mind, but clearly he needed some help. And he needed some help long before he came on the music scene. Something was going on way before he did Bump and Grime and all them other things, and I Believe I Can Fly and all that stuff. Something was going on with that man way before he became popular. And so because he has been found guilty on all 9 counts of all these charges that I just told you guys about, he the minimum sentence he would get, the minimum is 10 years. When I say the minimum, you start your foot off at 10. It says 10 years, sentence of 10 years imprisonment up to life in prison. So your toe is going in for 10 years, starting off up to life. And federal is federal. Federal is not state. State, you do a day, they give a day, you do a day, like 9 months or whatever. You can get enrolled, or what is it, parole and all that. In federal, you do day for day. There is no parole in federal, I don't believe. I think I've never heard it. So this is where he is. And you know what? I went out and read, I heard about it. And for some reason, I just did not at the time want to watch all those videos, and especially that documentary of surviving R. Kelly. But you know what? I think I'm going to watch it because I heard it, and some of the bits and pieces I heard, you know, I can kind of decipher through stuff. And I said, yeah, you know, that many women and stuff, and they talking about, yeah, he did, you know, people, it was too graphic, too detailed, and too many was saying the same thing. And I hadn't even watched the documentary, but I had already, you know, summarized what was going on. And because I've been in the movement of this type of movement for so many years, you know, I already knew, you know, the dude was, you know, out to lunch or whatever. So, but the thing, the question has been asked, you know, now this is like, I think the first case started in 96 or something. It's been a while. It's been like 20 or 30 years. And the first one, they talked about the child porn. You know, he was doing child porn. He kind of got off with that. And then the second time he was in court, some young girl, but she wouldn't testify and stuff. But there was been dripping noise going on all through the music industry about his sexual exploitations and his, or whatever you want to use that word, and, you know, with the young girl, you know, even go all the way back to Aaliyah. Now, Aaliyah been dead, 20 years or something? And, you know, that was an issue back then. You know, she was supposed to, 14, 15, and they supposed they, quote, unquote, got married, and he had somebody to change. Let me tell you what, these, when I was listening to these survivors, you know, one thing they said, and it makes sense, when you got that much power and you got that much leverage and money and access, first of all, people may not like you, but they want your money. They like your money. And if they can keep making money off of you and they can keep generating wealth off of you, they tend to look the other way, or they going to help you do whatever it is that you're asking them to do. To cover up, to lie, talk, say, you know, turn the blind eye, or whatever it is. You know, for him to have gone through this for so many years, and I sat there and listened to some of those two girls, them last two girls that was in the still, you know, the number one girl or whatever that was in the, you know, living in the house with him, and I can't think of her name, Azariel or something like that, and the other one with the J. And people were talking about that. I mean, I'm going to get down to that part about that victim blaming because, you know, people need to be careful, you know. And so one thing they were talking about, why did it take so long for them being the legal system, to convict him? And, you know, they were saying that, you know, even though they had a significant case, a significant amount of, you know, information about him, it took for this movement, the Me Too movement, and then there was another campaign that was said #mute R. Kelly or something like that. And it took those type of movements to keep going and the victims getting courage to come forth for the women to feel like justice has been served, you know. But again, yes, it has been served. He was found guilty on 9 counts. Again, like I said, they said he's going to go away from at least 10 years to up to life. So anyway, he's stepping foot in the door 10. That's what they're telling you. When he's going in the door, it's automatically 10, the bottom. That's the least you can do is 10. And so, but what they're saying is, even though the verdict happened on, I think it was the 27th of last Monday, it does prompt, and they said even though he, you know, it's been about him since the 90s about this abuse, why did it take so long for decades for him to receive this punishment? And so, you know, they're saying there's some different behaviors that was out there, and they're talking about his closest confidence. I listened to some of these people. You know, even the people that worked for him, you know, some of them was trying to kind of skate around stuff. I don't know what that is about, because my thing is this: if you go skate around the issue and you go try to come up with, you know, well, technically by the dictionary, dude, why come on and do a video if you go come on and do all that foolishness? You know what? Either you suspected it, either you had a gut feeling, either you thought about it, or you didn't, or it came across your mind or something. Even if it didn't, say that. Don't be trying to get technical when you have the terminology. You don't even know what you're talking about. You know, well, according to the textbook, dude, please go sit down somewhere. Why did you even have this? So I know the co-founder of that movement, Mute R. Kelly, you know, she said that in our reality, society does not view black women and girls as credible. And then sometimes they assume that a 15-year-old black girl has the cognitive ability, has the mental capacity to manipulate grown men. Now, most of black women, we are endowed, most, if not all, we are endowed, you know, with our busts, the hips and all the stuff. That's our makeup. And so even though they may look like a grown woman, they are still young girls. They still have young minds. They still haven't lived life to understand and know when somebody's trying to run a game on them. That's why most predators always, you don't find no predator trying to target no 30, 40-year-old woman. It always try to go after the girls because even though their bodies may be advanced and mature and they, you know, some of them real busty, even busty, you know, busty and hippie and stuff, they're still girls. They're still little girls. And so they always feel some way that black girls can manipulate grown men because of the way they're built. They can't the way that they're genetically made up and they're built and shapely and all. They can't help that. But that doesn't give society a pass when they say something has happened to them. Oh, you know, you want to disqualify them as being credible because of the way their body is shaped and maybe the way they are dressed and stuff. No, that is considered victim blaming and shaming. And so they're saying that you know, women, they didn't come forward sooner because they didn't want to be dealing with all of that. And I can tell by even when I was watching some of the videos of even like his ex-wife, Drea Kelly, you know, my heart just watching them and going through, listening to their stories and stuff like that. And I can see even some of the likes or whatever they was doing. When the thumbs up, I think it was on Twitter, the thumbs up and stuff and the thumbs down. You can see some of the people, the thumbs down, they didn't like the story or whatever. You know, people don't have, talked about this yesterday, people's stories, when they're being traumatized and you listen to some of these girls and what they've gone through, you know, the first thing a person does that manipulates, they go for the man because once you get the man, you get the body. So goes the man, goes the body. Come on. And so the first thing is to manipulate the mind, to deal with that abuse, their mental capacity. When that girl say that the man was in jail and he wanted to make sure that they come by his window, I guess, look out the window or whatever, every day at 4 o'clock to wave to them, no matter if it rain, sleet, snow, or storm, they had to. You know, they mind had to been pretty kind of twisted up. The man already in jail, but he's still commanding and saying that I want you to come out here and wave to me every day at 4 o'clock, and they did it. And see, people don't realize when you've been abused and you've been in that type of situation, and you're young, and then if you're young and you stay in it. That's like being somebody that's been on drugs. When you start drugs and you in it so long and you constantly deal with it, becomes a codependency. That is just like drugs. A person don't wake up saying, okay, I just wanted to try crack today and I want to get hooked on heroin. Nobody does that. But It's a codependency. You know you don't want to be smoking. You know you don't want to be selling your body. You know you don't want to be selling everything out your house to go get drugs and stuff. You know that is not what you want to do, but it's something that it becomes a codependent. It's overriding your will. That's the same thing when you've been in an abusive relationship. All them women saying the same thing. The man, they had to wear certain clothes. They couldn't wear. They had to ask could they go to the bathroom. They had to knock on the door when they was leaving out the room or coming to the room. You know, he would withhold food from them. His wife even said that. He hog-tied her, raped her, and then fell asleep. And he went to sleep, and she left her on the bed, hog-tied through the night. That is traumatic, folks. Y'all, I mean, if you've never, I'm pretty sure most folks have been hog-tied. But if something degrading like that has happened to you, that deals with your mind. That woman was married to the man, had 3 kids by him, and she was talking about taking her life to get out of it. That is a very twisted, manipulative. I don't know what happened to the man when he was growing up. Something clearly knocked it off kilter. Something. I know I've read some stories where they were saying that he said he was abused from the time he was 8 to 11 by a female, and then he was abused at 10 by a male. I'm not saying it's not true, but most times abusers, when they do that, they've been abused somewhere in their life. Either they were abused or they grew up in that household. But I am not giving him an out or excuse or nothing. I'm not doing that. But what I'm saying is I just wanted to talk about his case. He has been found guilty on 9 accounts in the federal court. He going up. He gone. Now, I'm sure they're going to try to do an appeal or whatever, but if the appeal don't go through, he's doing at least 10, stepping his toe in at 10. But my point is I wanted to talk about the survivors. These survivors. Listening to these girls were young. They didn't know game like that. You know, and then you got people, you know, giving you your phone number, and they just talking about all the acts they had to do, and it was some of the stuff was like, oh my God, you know, and then you already doing things that you normally wouldn't find yourself doing or think you was doing, and then to come to find out the person and videotape you, now you blackmailed into it. That stuff can go viral. You just, if you have never been in a humiliating situation, you would never understand what these women are talking about. But my point is, I don't want you to victim blame or victim shame. And that's why a lot of victims, when they do go through things, you know, and then I looked at some of these talk shows that some of the Kitty and I think the other lady, I can't think of the other lady, they were on this talk show, and you could just kind of hear some of the questions that the commentator or the show host was, well, didn't you know this? And you know, then you're making them feel like they stupid, you know. And so you may not want to do that, or you may not intend to do that purposely, but it does. It does do that. And so Drea Kelly, who was married to him for 13 years, she's saying that it was great. And I listened to the woman. She said, you know, he did all these things, but she's not gonna forgive him for the kids' Christmas. He messed up the kids' Christmas, the birthdays. He messed up all these kids, you know, their kids, you know, spending time with their friends and being able to have a normal life. And for that, she would not forgive him. And she told him she wanted him to go to hell, H-E-double hockey sticks. And so, and, you know, she talked about the abuse, and she didn't realize, I guess, all the other stuff the folks was going through. But, you know, when she did the second time or something, she said, oh, God, I can't go through this no more. She was dealing with her own abuse. And so I don't know, it just seemed like in my mind that he used women as a tool for his self-gratification. My heart went out for the lady that was braiding his hair. You know, like she said, I'm not even glamorous. You know, she was a pretty girl, but she said, I'm not even glamorous. I'm not even, you know, I'm not even that limelight. Why did he do, and how he just hawked up and spit on folks? You know, that something is wrong when you can hawk up fleas and spit in somebody's face several times and urinate on people, and something is wrong. Some wires are crossed. Something is going on wrong that, you know, yeah, he needs help, but, you know, he needs to be where he's going for and get his mind together, because he has hurt so many people. He has damaged so many people. And so now they're saying that, you know, they feel like justice can be served. But, you know, I talked about that. And, you know, she talked about something I said yesterday, that when she was talking about in her marriage, she lived in constant fear. She always was walking on eggshells, you know, intimidating, never knowing what version of that person you're going to get. Because, you know, like I said, very charismatic. They talked about that. I said that. I mean, I saw all the signs and I saw the red flags just by listening to bits and pieces of these survivors without even watching the whole Surviving R. Kelly. I didn't need to watch the whole thing just to hear what they were saying, the bits and pieces. I knew what was going on, you know, but we have to be careful that we don't be doing any victim blaming, you know, whatever their reason for. You know, one person was talking about, you know, where was her parents, and I think it was Azriel's parents, because she was 17 and she said the dad took her to the concert, and then one of his goons, one of his helpers or assistants had given her the phone, you know, whatever. So we don't want to get into the victim blaming, because victim blaming can be defined as someone saying, implying, or treating a person who has experienced harmful or abusive behavior, such as a survivor of sexual abuse or domestic abuse, like it was a result of something they did or said, instead of placing the responsibility where it lies. Because he got on that interview with Gayle King, standing up, hollering, talking about, you know, this is my life, y'all trying to do this, and he was going back and forth with her, talking about, no, you act like you believed it because you're constantly saying it, and all the while knowing you doing it. That's a narcissistic person. That's a narcissistic personality, because that's almost like a sociopath. The same too. They cannot feel for another person. They cannot feel hurt. They cannot empathize. They are lack and void of empathy. That's a sociopath. And so examples of victim blaming is, why didn't they fight back? You know, people are asked that, well, why didn't they fight back? You know, people are traumatized. I think somebody asked the mother, his wife, that. She's like, she was traumatized. She was afraid for her life. When you dealing with somebody at the time that was that powerful and that wealthy and had all these tendencies, and you got all these people that all they want is a paycheck, and if they got to say whatever they need to say, if they got to turn a blind eye to whatever they need to turn a blind eye to make sure they keep getting a paycheck, yeah, fear tends to creep in, because you feel like, okay, well, who's going to help? Who's going to help them? And then another part of victim blaming, when somebody said, well, they shouldn't have gone home with him. Whether they should have gone home or shouldn't have gone home, now you're placing the blame, saying that because they went home with him, it's their fault. No. The fault is not with them. The fault is with the perpetrator, the person who did something. If you go home with somebody and whatever y'all decide to get into, and the minute you say no is no. Regardless if you walked up to the door, went to the bedroom, took your clothes off, whatever. I know I'm being transparent and kind of graphic, but let's get down to this. Let's stop this victim shaming and victim blame. And you decide to say, oh, no, I don't want to. You have the right to change your mind. I don't care if he spent $500 on you, took you out, and y'all went home and you promised him and said you would go whatever. You have the right to change your mind. So we need to stop saying that, well, they shouldn't have went home with them. Then another victim blaming we do. What did they expect going out dressed? Ooh, what did they expect going out dressed like that? You can dress how you want. If you want to go out, they got nude beaches in the world. I done been to Jamaica, and me and my husband has been at a resort, and the next resort next to us was a nude beach. a new resort, which we didn't know about it until we just happened to be looking out there and was like, what? But anyway, that's what they want. And if you want to walk around there and do that, you don't touch. You don't touch. If you go to a expensive jewelry store and the diamond is sitting out there, don't touch it. What they say, if you touch it and you break it, you pay for it. Whatever, even if it's not diamond, if it's cheap glass, you can go to any store. You can go to one of them 5-cent stores or whatever. If you touch something and you break it, you pay for it. Don't touch. So don't say what they expect going out dressed like that. Don't touch. If they don't want you touching them, regardless what they're dressing like, don't touch. That's another one. Another victim blaming. Why did they get so drunk? Come on, people. You are putting all of this on the victim. Regardless of what they dress like, if they went with them, home with them, if they dress the way they wanted to dress, if they get drunk, did they ask you to violate them? No. Those are not invitations for you to abuse, misuse, or mistreat somebody. We need to stop that, because guess what? When we do that, it causes survivors and victims feel like, well, I don't have nothing to say. I mean, because you go blame it on me. Now they're re-traumatized. Now they're re-victimized because the people that they're going to try to help is not helping them. You have an accusation, and you may not have the accusation. You may not say no. You may just give them the look. You know how? Come on. You know how some of them, I always say, them old mothers of the church back in the day, and you come in and you can look. They got a picture of a Facebook post somewhere, and they said it's a picture of mothers of the church, and they got these looks looking at somebody, and they say, what are they saying? And people putting in the post what they think they're saying based on their facial look. We do that. Victim blaming. Because, then if they feel like I don't have anybody to talk to, what am I going to say? What am I going to share? What am I going to tell when you're already looking at me funny? You're already doing this victim blaming. You're already saying that, I shoulda, coulda, woulda, did this. Well, whatever it is, those girls were traumatized. Some of them, they gave their reason why they stayed. Some of them felt like, they was in love. And, when a person is in love, I don't care who it is. When a person is in love, you can't tell them nothing. You can't tell them nothing. They in love, and if you try to tell them to go left, they go further right. If you try to tell them don't do this, they go do it because they think they in love. Some girls said they felt like they loved him, and they felt like he loved them. Well, clearly he didn't love them. He was using them for his own self-gratification, but they didn't know that. That's why he targeted them and was getting them at the age that he got them. Yeah, they may have the body. They may have, the curves and all that. Like the one guy that was his personal manager for 15 years, he said if a girl had a big booty, regardless whether she was 15 or 25, he didn't care. It didn't matter about the age. She just had a big booty, right? He said that out of his mouth. You can go look on YouTube and pull it up. He said that. And so what it's saying is he would get these girls at a young age, and yes, they might have been matured in their bodies. That don't mean they was matured in their mind, in their thinking capacity. And so, like you said, most predators, the media, go on print media said that he is considered a predator, a serial sexual predator. They called him that. So don't be, acting, coming on here saying nothing to me. That's what is in print. They put that on there. He is considered a serial sexual predator. Whew, that's a mouthful. And so I just wanted to come on about that. I looked at some of the survivor stories. I read up about the case. I gave you all what he was indicted on, what he was found guilty on, the 9 counts. This was in the federal courts in Brooklyn, and I'm sure his lawyers are probably going to try to appeal it. But as of now, he's guilty on all 9 counts, and I guess his sentencing will be in May if they don't win an appeal or whatever, or get the appeal. But his sentence is in May the 9th. So it's kind of give some of these survivors closure, because there seem to be a lot. The one girl said he had women in every city, and I feel for his kids, because like his mom, the wife, the ex-wife say, they got to deal with that lineage. They got to deal with that legacy and people, looking at them knowing. And they asked her, they said, well, would you ever change your name? She said, no. She said, I dealt with this. I got this name through blood, sweat, and tears, literally. And so, I don't fault her. She's brave. She's still lovable. She still loves her children and stuff like that. But dude, yeah, she felt like he has damaged her kids, damaged their life, because of people know who your daddy is and all that stuff. You got to deal with that. So sometimes we have to think about. And like I told yesterday when I was at church and I preached it, when you're dealing with abuse and sexual abuse, it don't just affect you and that abuser. It affects everybody that's attached to you. Look at him and his kids. It affects them. Look at all these survivors. It affects their family. Like this one lady said, that it affects her and her aunts and her grandparents, and it affects all of them to know that their loved one was going through this. So this thing is so diabolical. It's like a onion peel or a rumple room. I don't know if you guys that's listening remember the rumple room, and the lady, I think her name was Miss Mary. She would put that mirror up, and it would just swirl round and round and round and round and round. You could not find the end because it was just constantly swirling. That's what this is, and that's how it affects. It affects people on so many levels. But let's not deal with the victim blaming. Let's rally around them, because he's done all this stuff, and all of them were saying the same thing about calling him daddy, having to go to knocking on the doors, holding food from them when they couldn't eat and all that stuff. All of them said the same thing. Everybody can't tell the same lie. Everybody can't tell the same lie. It's just not gonna flow like that. It's just not gonna flow like that. And so, this is something good. We want the victims to constantly speak up, and share your story, because like I said, abusers they thrive on 2 things. They thrive for you to be in secrecy. They thrive for you to be in darkness. Secrecy and darkness. They want you to be ostracized. And these girls was away from their families for years. Whew, I tell you, those are all the flags. All the flags were there. And so I just wanted to come on here and talk about that in this segment. Again, yes, R. Kelly has been found guilty on 9 counts. And I talked about all the counts that they've given. You can go out on YouTube, or you can go out on Google and look up all the 9 counts. And so this should be a relief for some of those victims who have encountered the abuse at his hand. And again, we just want to make sure we just don't do victim blaming. We don't do victim blaming, because people stay and deal with stuff based on their mental capacity. When your mind has been altered and maneuvered and manipulated and stuff, you do things you don't think you would do. So that's all I wanted to talk about today. Next week, we will discuss an article explaining about where an article that I read, they saying it is the responsibility is on police to restore trust in their ability to protect women. That goes back to that victim blaming that I just talked about. And sometimes it happens when we call law enforcement. They don't want to be bothered, and then they feel like, you're responsible and stuff. So we need some sensitivity training in this area with our law enforcement people. We do. Just like we do sensitivity training and diversity training in corporate, we need some sensitivity training around victimization and victim blaming in this area. And so we're going to talk about that more next week. And so with everyone helping, again, this is a community event. This is a community platform. JADASA is a community-based organization, and you are the community. So, therefore, you are JADASA because you are the community. And so we are working with everybody to get help to those who need it, to get this crisis under wraps, to get the abuse eradicated, and to reduce these numbers. Remember, the domestic violence hotline number is 1-800-799-7233, or you can go to thehotline.org, or you can also call us at 1-800-292-2145, or you can reach us at jadasa.org. I want to leave you with this scripture. I love this scripture, whether you believe in God or not, or whatever your belief. I think it is beneficial for everybody, and I always go to the scripture where it says, Jeremiah 29:11. He says, for I know the thoughts that I think towards you, says the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end. In layman terms, what he's saying is, I am thinking good thoughts towards you. I want to give you thoughts of peace and thoughts of happiness. I don't want evil for you because I want you to have the end that you expect. That's what he's saying. In everybody's story, you want a happy ending. You want a peaceful ending. You want a prosperous and a successful ending. And God says he wants to give you the end that you expect. So remember, again, JADASA is the community. It is a community organization. You are the community, therefore you are JADASA. Remember, it is JADASA 24/7, 365, all day, every day. With that being said, I want you to be safe, I want you to be well, and I want you to be whole. Good night. My God, it's hot.
Took me a while to get to this place. I'm so glad I'm in this phase, accepting all